Hello and welcome to the Student Counsel, an educational advice podcast made for and by students where everyone is qualified to talk about their own experiences. I am Carter Dvorak, and today I am very excited to be joined by Sam Beckman from Wayne State University. Sam, how are you? Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Carter. I'm happy to be here. Really happy to be here. I love your show and your work and all that.
And I love yours too. It's so fun to I still remember freshman year, seeing your podcast as a senior and being like, that's so cool. And you had all the merch. There was the Sam and Sean bed sheets and
sheets.
All of that stuff. And
legendary. Someone had a tote pillow. Someone bought one.
So I was curious. I didn't ever pull the trigger, but that'd be funny to own a pair of bed sheets from you guys with your faces on it. But yeah,
it's a good graphic. I forgot.
It was.
Kieran when he went to Wayne State with me, and I paid him a certain amount of money, and he did it, and it was a good graphic.
It really was. Yeah, I love good graphic design is really something remarkable.
I'm trying to better myself in it this summer. That's one of my goals.
That's a good goal. I'll use Canva a little bit, which I feel like is so basic. But it's a
good tool.
It's a great tool for, I think, beginning and kind of low budget graphic design. It's perfect.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I got to be better about it, but I'm saving up right now for an iPad so I can start doing Procreate stuff. So I can start with my fingers and my hands,
Yeah, I see Procreate stuff and it is the coolest thing in the world. I'm like, this is remarkable and it's so cool. It's all on an iPad.
That's what I would love, because then I still can use my hands, but also it's just right digital, I can erase stuff too, it feels like cheating, but it's not,
That's cool. I've definitely considered, do you do digital notes for college? Are you a physical notes kind of person?
I'm a little bit of both. It kind of depends on the class. I'm probably one of the worst note takers you'll ever meet, probably. I'm not someone that you should look after. I'm better on digital. I'm better typing, because I think it's more, if I'm typing, I'm not browsing the web for something else. I should be writing stuff down, but I end up doodling. So I end up just drawing stuff. So
fair.
It's hard.
It is. Yeah. I see people who do who have, the pencil and the iPads in class. And I'm I feel like it's a skill I should start to learn at some point. I think it's going to be something that's very cool. I'm is this going to help or not? But I've thought about it for college.
Yeah. And with those iPads, you can just you can do all the notes, you can annotate, and it'll just write it's crazy. I can't believe, I feel like an old person saying the technology is crazy.
Me too. Truly. But to get into the intro question, we've been bouncing around, but that's totally cool. Do you have a favorite 5 minutes of the past week, or just a general highlight of what's been going on?
Okay, I was thinking about this as I saw it. I moved out of my Detroit apartment today. This week, last Monday, and I just kind of sat and admired the porch. It was a beautiful apartment, and I'm sad it's gone, but at the same time, it was clean, and we cleaned it all. So we're going to get our security deposit back probably. And it was just a nice sigh of relief, because it took 4 hours to move all the stuff into a storage unit and clean, and that was it right there.
There's something satisfying to that, to cleaning something out, moving everything. I'll be curious how the dorm move in, move out experience is going to be, but I think it'll be emotional.
Dorm's not as bad. I'll say that right now. You're going to make a little step up when you go to an apartment, but dorm is not that bad.
Nice. Yeah, I think that they give you a time limit too, where you're you have to move everything in and out in X minutes, and
I remember that for sure.
Sounds like a game show.
It is, especially when you move in. Move in is a wreck. Everyone's trying to do the same thing as you, move in big stuff, Michigan dorms are they got some room. They're pretty good dorms, actually, I would say, compared to a lot of other colleges. So
that's cool. Yeah. So you're going to Wayne State. I'm just curious what your Wayne State experience has been. Certainly it's been shaped by the pandemic and everything else, but kind of what was your major? What did you think going into it? And how is it now that you're a year out from graduation, right?
Yeah, I got a half a year, because I'm a little ahead with the pandemic, which is nice. Yeah. So first year I went in dorm, and that was fine. My Wayne State dorms are actually nicer than a lot of dorms, but I just didn't like it because Detroit, as you know, is the motor city. So I would say for Wayne State, you need a car to get anywhere. That's one of those cities you just need a car if you want to explore Detroit because it takes 20 minutes to get anywhere. And then sophomore year, I was online, so I was home, which stinks, but like at the same time, I kind of look at it as a good thing because I spent a lot of time with my family. I was at home, so I mean, I don't know. It gave me a lot of time to be independent and still just like around my parents, but like I was doing my own thing because a lot of my friends were at school. But and then now this year I was back and I was in an apartment in like an old historic area. Like we lived in a 1915 house. That was where we moved. And it was made by architects. It's a gorgeous house. And we just lived on the floor of it. And that was a lot of fun being back in class. Like I like being in class. I mean, online classes, I'll do it, but it's not my favorite, you know?
I completely agree. The shift from online to in person, like I didn't even realize it at first, like until I got back in person for the first time after quite a long time online, where I'm like, oh, this is what things are meant to be like. Like this
Yeah.
is how, like there's no lag. This is incredible. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's still a little weird, but you know, I think everyone's adjusting back, and it's just a fun to like interact with certain classes, like when you can just have a discussion, people face to face. It's like, whoa, I haven't had one of these in like 3 years. It feels like,
truly, yeah, like we were, I like my high school, like I got cut off right at the end of sophomore year. Junior year was very wonky, and senior year was pretty normal. But like, yeah, like the Socratic discussions and like just being able to like comment on people and
yeah,
even yeah, not deal with any technical problems. No, nobody with bad internet. No talking over people like because of communication or like technology problems. It's been great, and I'm hoping for college now for your end of it and for my start of it, things are going to be pretty much normal.
yeah. And I mean, I think I have like two online classes, which I don't mind if I have an online class or two with in-person classes, but it kind of just depends.
Are these online, but you're still kind of like on Zoom, or is it just like more independent reading and stuff?
Yeah, it's more like we meet at a time, a certain,
Okay,
oh, is that synchronous? I think I don't know, or it might be asynchronous. It's synchronous, I think.
that's interesting. Like, because I remember even when I would be like, I did some Zoom classes and some like pure online classes, and like those straight online classes were tough, like just rough, because it's hard with no teacher when you're just kind of having to read and answer questions. Like,
Yeah, you don't learn. I feel like you don't learn. I mean, people, it's different for everyone, but I don't learn that much when I do classes like that. And then
yeah,
I'm left like, oh, I just kind of wasted some. And when you're in college, you waste money on those kind of classes. So it's tough.
it is really tough. I'm curious, talking about housing, like, so you did the dorms then at Wayne for 1 year, like,
Yep.
well, sort of most of a year.
Yeah, because you're right. Because we went back for spring break in Saugatuck, and then I never went back. Well, I went back to move stuff out, but they told us our spring break's extended, and then they said, "Oh, we're done." Like it was crazy.
Yeah, it was for us too. I think we had a week before spring break or something very similar to that, where like we kind of treaded water for a week, like not knowing what to do with classes, and then basically we had a 2 week spring break, and then we came back to it and everything. Like there were systems in place and like schedules and stuff, which was great. But it was crazy how fast everything changed.
Yeah, yeah. It's still wild. I mean, we're in that recovery, and I'm happy to say I actually got COVID for the first time like 2 weeks ago.
Oh
So
wow, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, but I still can't really taste or smell that well. Like I feel like I'm still kind of recovering off that, but it was very weird and I had to miss work and I was upset about it, but at the same time, I knew I had it. Like I felt weird and I was like, all right, I
Yeah.
got to sit out.
Yeah, that's a good call, truly. And like, it's nice at this point. It's like I assume you're vaccinated and stuff. Like, it wasn't. I feel like,
Yep.
was it super rough of an experience all around? Like, how long did you have it
No,
for?
it was honestly like 6 days. It wasn't
Okay.
that bad. And I felt like I had it for less time and I'm happy I'm vaccinated because I think it would have been a lot worse. Like it I had some throat stuff and congestion and then I just felt very like my brain was foggy. Yeah, I was getting antsy in the house, like going for walks for like 3 hours and like reading. It's hard.
Yeah, oh, I bet. Yeah, being back under that like essentially house arrest kind of thing. It's like
Yeah.
Was it required of you to stay in the dorms freshman year, or did you choose to do that? Like,
I don't know if it was required, but I think like they definitely promote it. And I went in blind, and I actually met my roommate Sterling, who he goes to Atlanta now. Like his family moved to Atlanta, but we're really close friends. Like he's honestly like a brother to me, and it was crazy that that kind of turned out like that because I know a lot of people go in blind and it's not good, but you should go in blind because it gives you. I think it gives you like a you're kind of going outside your comfort zone, and that could be really good, could be bad, but you're gonna learn from it either way.
very true. Yeah, it's good to hear some positive roommate stories because I feel like I've heard so many kind of roommate horror stories. So it's nice to see like people who are roommates and get along, and even I see adults who are like, yeah, I had my roommate and we still keep in touch like 20, 30 years later. Like that's cool.
Well, yeah, and the crazy part is like Sterling and I are very close, and we lived. It was like a two bed. It's just like two beds, one on each side, and then there's a bathroom. So it was actually we shared a bathroom, but there were certain things, yeah, that he wasn't perfect about, or I wasn't perfect about. But you learn from that, and then also across the hall, Evan and Anon, the two people I lived with this year. So like that's how I met them, and that's how I met a lot of people was on my floor. So it's two-edged sword because it was I met a lot of cool people.
That is awesome. Yeah, like it's just kind of nice that you got your own bathroom. That's one thing I'm a little bit wondering, like curious, concerned about in Michigan is like that communal bathroom experience. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been in those communal bathrooms, and I mean I don't know how it is day to day, but I just know that some students are crazy and will
yeah.
make and do some gross stuff. So just good luck with that.
Thank you. Maybe I'm a little bit hopeful. Maybe since I'm not going to be on North, whereas where a lot of the freshmen are, I'll get some more like older,
Yeah,
mature
yeah,
students. Maybe.
yeah, and like learning communities. If you're talking about learning, maybe that would help. I don't know.
So I guess I'm curious. I've heard about Wayne. I remember like I talked to Roy. I think he was going, like Connor, people like that going to Wayne as well. And
Yep.
like I guess I'm just curious. Like, so what is like Wayne kind of culture, and like how would you describe like Wayne State as a school? I guess.
Yeah, that's a great question. So Wayne State, I wouldn't say like compared to like Michigan State, like not as much of a party school. Like we're very not. I would say Detroit as a whole, like that's kind of your embodiment of Wayne State. Like you're getting more of the city than you are a college type vibe. This college is in the city, which is awesome, and there's a lot of cool parts about the city, but Wayne is also a big commuter school. So it's almost like the campus presence is like the size of Hope. So it's very weird that we're the third biggest school in the state, but also like the small, like we don't have much of a presence on campus. Fraternity life is like cool. I mean, I've been to a few parties, it's fine. But it really kind of promotes you to do your own thing. Like that's what I will say about Wayne. Like, especially with me being in business management, I figured out that it's like what you make of it. You can really kind of direct your degree the way you want it to go. I mean, I just took a minor in urban sustainability, so I'm kind of learning about like zoning and stuff like that. So I might try to get into, planning. I love the city of Detroit. It's really sad to see some of the dilapidated parts and parts that have just been disinvested. So I don't know. That inspires me to work harder, and I very much enjoy the city. I love the college, don't get me wrong, but that's basically the heart.
So I guess with Wayne, like you get to explore a lot of I guess Detroit then too, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Like there's everything is there.
Yeah, and Wayne has a lot of good classes where they'll educate you on and great teachers too. I mean, there are some bad teachers. Like there's a common saying called Wayne stated because just sometimes they're like not up to date with stuff. And like, I've never had a counselor. Like I've done all my scheduling for my classes, like, and I get moved around. That's one part I don't like. Is they'll assign you a counselor that also has like 100 other students. So it's like, when are you really going to see that? But I mean, I don't know. It could be similar at Michigan. I'm not sure, but
I met with my counselor for the first time about a week ago, and from what I could tell, like I think they deal with a lot of different students, and I think it's like a small-ish team, but at least for freshman orientation, they do a pretty good job at like staggering and making sure it's all pretty small groups, one on one. Like, so I'm hopeful. I'll be curious to see as the year progresses, like how much we'll be able to like have communication with them and like be in touch and all that. But so far so good. I like my counselor seems pretty cool.
Yeah, and with all that stuff, I would say like scheduling your classes, my advice is you snooze, you lose. Like literally make a decision on a class. I don't know how other colleges are, but Wayne State is like 7 a.m. you can register for classes. So you get up at 6:58 and you have your plan ready to go and you just register all your classes. It'll save you just like time because you're gonna get the classes you want if you get up. Maybe not as a freshman, but like now I've never had a class. I've had one like 8 o'clock class. And then also I don't have super late classes. I'm always pretty much like 10 to 12 range. And then I'm done by 2. So
Nice. Yeah, I think the same thing goes for Michigan and orientation. I think I'm going to do a whole podcast on like how to do orientation, but I did kind of reluctantly, like in school, I did the earliest orientation slot that I could pick. And I was kind of annoyed right after graduation having to like do all this kind of prep work. I am so happy that I picked that because already I am on some very, very low wait lists, but still like waitlisted a little bit in like a discussion that I want. And I think Michigan does it. They like give out classes by how many credit hours you have already at the college. So like, seniors are going to get first and generally juniors, sophomores, however
Wayne's
that stacks up.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, yeah, especially as a freshman, just gotta kind of try and get in there as quick as possible. And I'm glad that like I did. I'm kind of glad that it's done now. Like I don't really have to worry about a lot of orientation stuff until like August again. But yeah, no, it definitely feels like I am so glad that I did this as early as I did, and I wish I could have done it even earlier if that was even possible.
Yeah. No, 100%. I agree with you. Oh man.
And I'm curious of like going into business, like what was your inspiration, I guess, going into business? Was that always kind of the plan for you or?
Well, when I first went to school, I was a major in public relations. And then and I minored in marketing. And I kind of thought that might be the way I go. And then I started to, I don't know. For me, it really kind of shifted last year when I was at home, when I realized I don't really want to be working in a cubicle. It's not really me. I know a lot of the business world, like, and this is advice for any business student, is I would say don't get caught up in all the internship competition. Because yes, you will want to get an internship at some point, but you got to find one that's right for you and find one like, just like, don't do it because other people are doing it. That's a lot of business student stuff. And I bet it'll be like that at Ross. I bet it will be like that completely. So I shifted to management because I've always kind of liked, I don't know, putting the responsibility on me. And we talked about entrepreneurship. I took an entrepreneurship class in Wayne, and I'm just like, that's what I want to do. I want to run a business of some sort. So however I need to get there, I will get there, but I'm just going to learn the ropes in a lot of different maybe industries and kind of move around.
Absolutely. I think that's a really great plan, especially, like, I feel weird saying this because I'm younger than you, but like you're young. There's that availability to go really explore right now. I feel like that's what they always instill in you as you go to college is like, just go learn everything. And I think there's such truth to that of like, that's the plan, is to go learn a bunch of stuff.
For sure, because if you just take it for what it is, like you'll learn more, and just you meeting people there, like what I said earlier with personal capital, that's huge. And I think just like those personal experiences, that's off a book. I'll recommend the book. It's what is it? It's like it's something about like your 20s are the most important decade of your life. Your 20s are the defining decade. It's a great book. I listen to it as an audiobook, but it's awesome.
That sounds really interesting. I will have to check that out. I am in need of a new audiobook to just go through.
I'm just gotten on the audiobook train. I used to not be on it. Now I read and do audiobooks, so I'm getting old.
Especially if it's a really engaging audiobook, I will like really go through them. Sometimes I'll hit some that are kind of slow and it's hard to like go through and read them. But yeah, I'm trying to get back into reading this summer.
It's a lot of fun, and people don't realize like it really does help with just like your mental health. Like you take 20 minutes to read every day, and you'd be surprised the creativity that comes out of you, and just like I don't know, it's very meditative for me. Except I am reading a kind of intense book right now, so. I don't know. Give or take.
Definitely. I did AP Lit this year, and like it was great to read all these books, but like it was just like Handmaid's Tale and all these like heavy
Yeah,
like
I'm reading like a dystopian type novel about a computer mogul who like can predict your consciousness, and he'll like recommend like shopping stuff off that, and like he can live till he's like 200. It's scary. It's really scary because it kind of hits a little close to home. So
yeah, no, those things that are hitting close to it. I don't like the stuff that hits close to home. It's like yeah, Handmaid's Tale especially really just creates such a feeling in you of like, oh, I don't like this. But
yeah, I don't like how. Yeah, it's good to read though. It's good to read.
yeah, I've got some advice questions more into the more general questions, but basically I couple these two together because like people either have one or they're the same answer. But there's this ultimate tip question, which is
Yeah.
basically like, what is your ultimate tip for somebody going into college? And then also like I have one that's just called pass it on, which is like if you received a piece of advice that you want to like further on, I guess that piece of advice. But either or, if you got an advice to pass on or just your ultimate tip for going into college, I'd love to hear it.
So my ultimate tip.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say find hobbies. Like do stuff you like because it will keep you sane in like the methodicalness of college. Because when college, like like in school, you get into a rhythm, and it's really easy to just kind of get stuck in that rhythm and get out of it. And I would say that just doing different hobbies and not always going into your phone will do wonders for you. And get outside. Get outside, walk, just go for a walk. I know that's pretty cliche, but like that's probably what's helped me the most. It's just if I'm in my head too much or like some intrusive thoughts are coming in about how bad I am at school, I just need to relax and go do something. I'll play Mario Kart, I'll paint. I'll play piano. I mean, I move around.
Are all these hobbies like, I guess painting, Mario Kart, that's more just like stuff you do on your own. Do you do any like clubs for hobbies, I guess? Like, did you join any clubs at Wayne that were like kind of geared towards your interests? I mean, of course, COVID had a damper on clubs, but still.
Yeah, I joined Wayne Radio, and that's how I'm doing the Mean Bean Show is through Wayne Radio.
Nice.
So, and I like Connor told me he's the president, and he's like, Sam, you're already our most active member. You just joined because I'm like the only one that talks in the chat, and I took over the gram, and like I'm trying to push it, and I like doing stuff like that. But actually, for me, freshman year, I wish I would have joined a club or something because I didn't. And like I don't know, it's very hard to meet people like. If you only meet people at parties, think about like-minded individuals. Sometimes that just won't work with you. I'm not a super big party person. I've noticed that about myself. So when you hang around party people, that's what you're gonna get. Find clubs that like with interests that you like. Simple as that.
Completely. I don't think I'm really a party person. Of course, I think COVID really dampened any like big chances of parties like in my senior years of high school. And even still, I'm very curious what a Michigan party is going to be like, and I don't know. We'll see how they go.
It's all good in moderation, man. It's all good in moderation. But I will say for me, like freshman year, I was more into the party scene than I am now. And now I feel like a recluse. Like now I do not feel like I feel like completely opposite. I do go to some parties, but it's very like I don't know. You it wears off. Like I went to like frat parties in my freshman year, and it just like it's not for me. So I just stopped going.
Yeah. Were there any like business frats at Wayne? I think that's something at Michigan, and I hear about them, I've considered them, but I'm curious if you have any knowledge about them.
I don't know about. There is a business frat. There's a business frat, and I don't know the name of it, but Connor's in it.
Okay.
And there's a few people in it. The thing with that is, it really depends on who's in the frat because frats aren't all bad. Of course they're not, but like it really depends on like who you're going to be spending your time with. Because I rushed a frat my freshman year, and I did it off peer pressure basically, like because some of my friends were doing it, and I just ended up hating it. So
I'm curious. I think that I've heard of a couple different ones, and I'm like, yeah, I think it really depends on the frat and exactly the people in the frat, because that's really what makes the frat whatever frat it is.
Yeah, it's like Pike. Like Pike has a notorious bad reputation, but there are a lot of nice guys at Pike at Wayne State, but just wasn't for me.
Totally fair. I am curious about that kind of going in like freshman year. Did you have an expectation of like college or how things at Wayne would be, and like how did that reality compare both like pre-COVID and then of course with the pandemic really changing any expectations anybody had?
Yeah. So I guess like my freshman year, I kind of went in thinking I was just gonna meet a lot of people and just be able to hang out with people all the time and find my friend group, and you end up finding it, but it takes a little bit to like, I don't know, take the training wheels off, I guess. Like my second semester was when I really was getting in the flow of things. And of course that's when COVID hit. My when I came back, it was more like I know some of these people that I like. So now it's like developing that relationship with them. Like even my roommates, like I moved in with them and I didn't know them what. We were friends, but we weren't great friends. And that's a good way to be when you meet roommates, You're all on your own schedule, but like it's a struggle. I don't know. I definitely had a more mature approach coming back. I don't meet people at the pace I thought I would, but like it's not like it's like college students, you meet them in a class that you're taking with them, and that's a class that you like, then you're probably more inclined to be friends with them than just like meeting them at a party or in the gym or something like that. You got to find these similar interests and really kind of bounce off that.
Yeah, that is great advice. I'm excited. I for like a first year writing requirement class, there was like of course I think the natural like English 125, English 126, which all seemed like really interesting courses. But then I found like an English 141 class, and it's like something along the lines of like the performances of Ann Arbor. And I was
Yeah.
like, that seems like a really, and I immediately signed up for it. And I think I don't think I'm on a wait list for it. I think I'm just in that class, which is great because I think that feels like a class that's going to be really cool to get to go like hear these performances and see these things happening. And it's just so cool.
Yeah. And like I would say that too. Like I think one regret I have is just like, I mean, with business, you don't have much room to work with, but with your electives, you got to choose wisely because if something you really want to learn, like you should do it and see what you think of it. Because I mean, you only get so many electives, and like I got an entrepreneurship elective this year, and that was a really fun class for me. I already knew someone in it, but like we worked together towards a project. It was like kind of like an elevator pitch type thing. You would get advanced and then you would get eliminated if your idea wasn't my idea got eliminated like the first week, and it was so dumb because I felt like I had the best idea, but mine was just very like it was grand.
What do you know? Do you still recall the idea? Would you
I
mind
do.
sharing? What is
Yeah,
this?
no. So it was the Boston Edison Creative Collective. That's what I called it because it was this old school building that's not used anymore in Detroit, and I wanted it to be like a kind of like a subscription based service where like you pay a certain amount of money and then it's like trades, so you could like learn how to cook there. There would be computers there would be gardening and stuff like that. Like you would spread it out a little bit, and then there would be like teachers and you can go in and do workshops. And that was my idea. So I didn't have all the details down, but I still think it's a good idea. So
That's a great idea. Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
I got shut down. I was really mad about it, but and I thought about like having like galleries, kind of like SCA. Like I got a lot of
Yeah.
inspiration from the SCA, but I think it would be good for like it's not right downtown Detroit, which helps because I think a lot of where Detroit struggles is not downtown, but kind of when people like move out and kind of it gets more gentrified. Like that's where those areas are, the tax base leaves, and then you need help. So
Yeah. That's really interesting.
yeah, so I thought like bringing people together through community stuff like that, and then like I don't know, like scholarships and stuff like that would also be involved because I know everyone can't afford that, but money doesn't grow on trees, sadly. So I think they shut my idea down.
Dang, that's unfortunate. But yeah, no, it's always the funding. But that sounds great. Hopefully that can still at someday, some point, like help.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'm curious about Wayne too, like dining hall wise. Like, do you eat a lot on the dining halls on campus, or is it more just like you're in Detroit, so I feel like you have access to all these really cool like in the city restaurants. Like, is that more where you kind of found yourself eating?
This year I ate more, of course, out, and I cooked more because I mean I had my own stove and stuff. But freshman year it just stinks. But like it just stinks with dining because my dining hall just sucked. Like it wasn't good food at all.
That's a bummer. Okay. I think next question. This is kind of fun. Like you're the first person from Saugatuck who I have asked this to, which I'm kind of excited to hear now. Is there a moment from high school that you still like think about or kind of recall?
There's a few. There's a few, and people, I mean, I'm not the disciplined person I was. I mean, no, I'm more disciplined than I was back then.
Of course.
I don't know if you've heard about the Jolly Rancher incident. Have you heard about this?
I don't think I did.
Oh, I don't know. I'm telling a bad story, but like this is the one I think about. So
Yep.
Miss Bauman, bless her heart, she's the greatest teacher. But I would take Jolly Ranchers from her, so it's pretty terrible. I love the blue raspberry Jolly Ranchers, right? So instead of just taking one, I would take like three or four, and then like we went into her room, and I'm like scrounging her room for Jolly Ranchers, which is terrible. And she got a camera and she recorded the whole thing of me like, and I literally was like, where are the Jolly Ranchers? Like, if I don't find these Jolly Ranchers, I'm gonna have a panic attack. And like, literally, we got sent to the principal's office because of it, even though it was like mostly me. And like, it was fine. We bought her like 4 bags of Jolly Ranchers, like in return. But like, I do think about that. And just like the art trip my senior year was a lot of fun. Like I went to Toledo and then Detroit, and that was a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. And I had not heard that Jolly Rancher story. That's
Oh, you
very
gotta!
funny.
I gotta send you. I'll send you the video. I'll find the
Please
video.
do.
Like 800 people have the video, so not 800, but you know, like a lot of people have the video.
It's stuff like that gets around. It is funny.
Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome. I mean, I look back at Saugatuck and I have a lot of appreciation for the teachers are great, and like it's weird post school because if you're here in the summer, things just kind of like you just get like I mean I feel just a lot of anxiousness sometimes just like because you want to get out and do your own thing and live your own life. It's no diss to your parents. You love your parents, but it's like, well, I'm still in your house and like on your time kind of. So I don't know. It's interesting, but I love Saugatuck High School. I love all the people that were there and it was a great community and I'm happy I grew up here. So
Me too. I really could not think of a better place to have my high school, like 4 years. It was really awesome. Even like, especially coming in as a new kid, as a freshman, like I feel like super
yeah,
welcoming
exactly.
and like by the end of it, it was just awesome to like really, have such a great group of people. And yeah, it's like I'm gonna miss it. And it was really cool to like have still some of those roots here. Like I think it would be a great time to come back to for the foreseeable future.
Man, what a great teacher Mr. Holtz
Oh
is.
my goodness. Oh,
He's one of the
so
greatest ever.
incredible. Yeah. Well,
I've like
you
said it on multiple podcasts, but he's like one of the great.
Yeah, I truly like, the way that we knew like the family of one of their kids who's now in his 30s, who was like one of the first, like, who saw like Holtz's first year at Saugatuck. And like, it's so nuts the way that he transformed like that band and the whole music program and like into what it is today. It's truly spectacular. And he like, I do not envy his schedule of like getting to school at like 6:30 7 in the morning and then doing jazz band and then doing middle school band and then sixth graders and then high schoolers and then choir. Like it's got to be so much. And it's truly like he's such a phenomenal teacher.
Yeah, he is. He's an all-time great. And I quit my junior year and I don't regret it because there's more of the people that were in my section that I just wasn't as much friends with. Like I loved Ray, but it was very much like I don't know, it was just bothering me. But like when I had him and he also I told him personally and he was always like, you're welcome in the band room and like I'm happy what you did for the program and like I really enjoyed being in percussion. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a good time.
I didn't realize you were in percussion. That's cool.
Yeah, I was. I was a bass drum marcher, and then also I was like, I remember my highest chair ranking was like 4 or 5, which
Nice.
in a time of like, there was like 12, 13 percussionists, I felt like that wasn't bad.
That's a really great ranking. That's awesome. Yeah.
But piano helped, I did piano lessons, so that helps a lot with like reading music, and I can still read music.
That's awesome. Yeah, I did that all through like elementary, middle school, and it definitely really helped me. And like, I think it's why I initially joined percussion. And I have no regrets of joining that section. Truly, like,
Yeah.
it's. I feel like all 4 years it's been a really cool section with like just really great people in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Ray included. I think he was only there for one of the three trimesters my freshman year, but still it was like cool to meet him and like hang out. Just always seemed like a cool
Yeah.
guy.
So, yeah, I just missed it, and I apologize because that would have been fun. But
Yeah, but
yeah, Ray and I used to like mess around a lot. Like I remember Holtz being very sick of us sometimes, but he was always a good sport. So
yeah, he really was. I think he like I think that, in moderation with like some, respect, I think Colts was always kind of had fun with some of that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
Speaking
sure.
of band, I've like been putting together like a school survival playlist, and I'm just curious if you have like a song or a piece of music or something that kind of got you through a time in high school or college, or just like that you associate with that.
I'm gonna be the most cliche guy of all time, but I went to a Paul McCartney concert last Sunday, so I gotta say I saw him for the first time. He's a Beatle. If you really aren't into the Beatles, you should try and listen to their albums because they're great music, and it's not like it's like we're very much like Here Comes the Sun, and there's like other ones like like I feel like there's like five Beatles songs that people always know, but if you actually like go through the albums, you realize how incredible these guys are, and they're timeless. And they got me through a tough time in freshman year.
That's cool. I think we might have even talked about this at one point. I remember like I am one of those kind of fringe Beatles fans, but like I really do feel like there's so many songs that I hear. I'm like, these are great. Like, honestly, the speaking of band, the choir did Blackbird for like the last spring concert, and it was so good.
Paul McCartney, like I mean, there's he's my favorite Beatle, but there's just like you listen to an album all the way through, and I don't want to be that guy that's like listen to it like an album instead of just like pick a song. But they're very well at like they're well versed, and there's like four guys that are incredibly talented in that.
Do you have a favorite song of all the Beatles?
Ooh, that's hard. That's hard. I would say the Abbey Road medley. I know that's cheating because it's like five songs, but She Came In Through the Bathroom Window is like one of my favorite songs ever, and it's not even like that popular. Just Abbey Road second half, just all the transitions from one song to another, they do very good at like just chords, progressions, and then just all of a sudden it's the next song. So that's really cool.
I love a good transition and a good medley, honestly. Like all the like even like, with like Broadway stuff too. Like I love like overtures and stuff. I think they're always so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I mean, the Beatles medley, if like you're with me, I will cry almost every time I hear it because it's the last song I ever made. And like you'll just see me tear up a little bit, which is Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye is my favorite Detroit artist. So, I mean, he's incredible. And like What's Going On is one of the greatest albums, still holds up today about like racial injustice and just like people not getting treated right. So that's a great album too.
Wow. Yeah, well I gotta listen to that then. Definitely. All right, we've made it to the last question here, which is a bit of a two in one, but what would you tell your freshman self in high school and what would you tell your freshman self in college?
Freshman self in high school, I would just say to try and like just enjoy your relationships more with people because to be in that proximity with people that will never happen again. Like that's crazy that high school is an experience where you see people every day and for good for better or worse. Like it's really great to be around people. Like I saw my brother in school and then I would see my friends that are in my grade. And then, like I knew who people were 4 years younger than me. I knew their names. And like that's the crazy thing with freshman year, and I still tell myself this today, is don't keep score. Like it's easy for us to take ourselves so seriously, but sometimes you can't keep score all the time, like about like what you're trying to be and stuff. Cause you just take it day by day.
I think don't keep score is a great piece of advice for college, truly. And it even still, yes, there is something so kind of unique and remarkable about Saugatuck and the like closeness that was there. Like you said, I think for better, for worse, but it is true. Like everybody, like we knew all these different people and like I knew all the freshmen like this year and like COVID did a little bit of a number on that where like some of the middle grades got foggy, but still like it was cool. Yeah, as a freshman, I knew who you were and Sean and everybody and like that was cool. Like that was really a cool experience.
Yeah, and I think like for me, it was like when I was a freshman, like the seniors were not that nice. Like I remember just like no one really talked to us and stuff. So it's like, what's the point of being just because they're 4 years younger than you? Like you're gonna be a jerk. Like they're all people. So it could be your boss someday. So you never know.
That was something really cool is I feel like very early on I was welcomed by like all the different kinds of seniors. Like Hannah from band, like I saw her at Ida's after my first day at band camp, and she said hey, and that was really sweet. And then like, and Maya, but also like I remember Austin from Quiz Bowl was awesome, and like Caleb and stuff, and I'll still see these people.
It's very cool. I mean, it's always nice running those chance encounters,
Yeah, truly, and I feel like at Saugus, like there's always you're gonna see somebody somewhere, like which is always kind of nice.
Yeah, or not, Sometimes you're not in the mood to see anyone, and you're just like, oh, there's this guy again. Like as a bartender, I get that sometimes. Like especially now I'm 21, and I can go out. Like I'll go out to a bar sometimes, and then people just recognize me as the bartender from Maros, and that's sometimes not a good thing. So,
Oh yeah,
it's all right. But sometimes I get free drinks, so here's that.
trade-offs, definitely trade-offs.
Yep.
All right. Well, that is it for the main questions. I guess the final question is, what do you got to plug? I want to hear all about share your podcasts with everyone here and like everything else that you're doing. Anything else you want to plug?
All right. So I'll start with what's most important to me. My Instagram. No, I'm just kidding. My art Instagram. My art Instagram is my favorite, Funkadelic Coffee House. That's my goal. Like with owning a business is I would love to have like a coffee house where I could promote art, have an event space, do concerts, do like a liquor license, like stuff like that. That's what I would want to do. That's the dream. And Funkadelic Coffee House came to me this year. I love Funkadelic Parliament. It's one of my favorite funk bands. And George Clinton, this guy that dresses up in like hats and just like all this like grandiose stuff on stage. I just love that stuff. So that's kind of where I get a lot of my art that I inspire from. I'm a pretty abstract painter. I move around. I just get inspired by stuff around me. So if you want to check out my art, Funkadelic Coffee House. And then with that, my radio show, Funkadelic Coffee House Chats, is just me. And I just talk to random people about stuff. I'm going to be coming out with more stuff. And then the Mean Bean Show with what I do with my friend Colin Yard and I. And we talk about local coffee places in Detroit. And we give them a rating. And we just talk it up for an hour. So that's what's going on with me.
That's all really cool. Totally check out all those shows. They're all so cool. And like, yeah, your art is really, really cool. I think it's like, I love all like the abstract stuff. I think it's really cool to like see.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I'm trying to work on a website right now and make prints more accessible because I'm not going to sell my paintings really because they're too close to me. But I want to sell prints and just like for a good price. And I'll do like custom tote bags and all that. But I just love colors. So that's basically my main emphasis when I paint. So I'm just trying to tell a story. I like being a good storyteller.
Truly, there's something really cool to that. Yeah, it's cool. There's so many mediums for it. Like art is great. Podcasting's cool. Novels, TV, like art can be anywhere too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I've grown to love about it. Like I really wasn't like I would have never thought if you would have told me like in my freshman year of high school that I would be like a creative painter. And I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm working towards it. So like that struggle is fun. And it's the beauty in the struggle, as J. Cole always said. So
well, I mean, that's everything from me. Thank you so much for being on here, Sam. This has been a blast to catch up and talk, and for the first official time have you on a podcast, although that old you and Sean episode is still sitting on my computer deep in the archives. So
I know Sean and I talked about it when I was like, well, we never made it, but it was a good little episode. I'm happy that I'm on.
No, I loved that episode. Truly, it was just the show never made it to light, unfortunately. But I'll definitely have to get back in touch with Sean too, and maybe have you either re-release that or do another one here because I had so much fun with that episode. And
Sean, man, that man is great. He will be like a broadcaster or something crazy. Like that. I can see it. Like it's crazy.
Me too. It's cool to see him like going into radio again. Like I remember you're all freshmen podcasts from freshman year, and it's cool to see now. Yeah, he's at radio. You're doing the Mean Bean Show. It's cool to see all that stuff like still happening. Like
it's fun because like you go away from it and then you get the itch to do it again. Like I mean, I wish we could do Sam and Sean Save the World. Like more than anything, that was my favorite because we had these just absurd questions and just absurdity, and I love like that kind of humor. So that's more where I'll get you. Like I'll just hit you with 100 jokes, and if 99 don't land, I'm gonna be happy about the one. And I'm gonna do another 200 jokes. So
absolutely. Comedy is the one podcast genre that cannot wait to get into one day. Like, truly, I think it would be. I think I want to get my chops down, and I want to like keep doing stuff. I want to take some like little improv classes and all that. But like, I think that would be a really fun thing to like get into again.
Yeah, man, I still have dreams of being like a little actor sometimes. Like,
Yup.
I feel like I got the delivery. I could be good about it. I just don't work at it, you know?
Yeah, no, it's like same, honestly. It's like I'll do writing. I feel like was kind of where I've fallen recently. Of like when it's funny when I try to read, like I'll like read 3 pages into a book and be like, I want to write stuff now. Like it's so funny.
Yeah.
But like yeah, you talk about that inspiration. But yeah, that's really cool.
Get inspired. That's another tip. Is just get inspired by
Yeah.
stuff because we're all human. So like the fact that one human can do it, you can do it if you put enough effort into it. So the 10,000 hour law is real.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, well, this has been awesome. Are there any other parting messages from you, Sam? Anything else you want to share?
No, man, I'm good. I appreciate you having me on here. This is a great time.
Yeah, this has been an absolute blast. Yeah, if you want to find our Instagram, totally go check out Funkadelic Coffee House first, though, because it's so freaking rad. We are at Stuco Pod. You got emails, you want anything you want to hear from any colleges you want to hear about. StucoPod@gmail.com is how you can reach this good old podcast. Wish you the best of luck and the best of times in all of your educational endeavors. The Student Council is adjourned.